What's up, Chiefs Kingdom? Noah Gray here, tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to Josh's channel and check out showmefootball.com for more.
What is up, Chiefs Kingdom? Welcome back to another video on my channel. My name is Josh Fan of showmefootball.com and arrowheadaddict.com, covering your Kansas City Chiefs. And today I wanted to talk about the Kansas City Chiefs' plan to stop Saquon Barkley in Super Bowl 59. Saquon Barkley is largely considered the biggest offensive threat on the Philadelphia Eagles in this game, and the player that the Chiefs defense most has to focus in on if they want to win this game. The odds are, if you hold Saquon Barkley to 100 yards or less, you have a very good shot of winning this game. Because Saquon Barkley is the kind of guy that can wreck the game if you are not prepared for him. And he's going to be a large part in determining the results of this game. But the question is whether or not the Kansas City Chiefs can stop him. You know, you have a lot of Eagles fans out there that are saying they're not stopping Saquon Barkley. The Eagles are going to run away with this game, quite literally. But us Chiefs fans know that this Chiefs defense has mostly been up to the task anytime they go up against a threat like a Saquon Barkley. So I believe the Kansas City Chiefs have a very good plan to stop Saquon Barkley in Super Bowl 59. But let's talk about that a little bit, what that actually looks like. So let's start with this. The Kansas City Chiefs run defense this year was top 10. It was a very strong part of their defense. And that's not even something you could say last year. The Chiefs defense was elite last year in 2023, but their run defense was somewhat of their Achilles heel, not this year. This defense was very good, and they were very good at stopping the run. That's just not something that we could say about the Kansas City Chiefs in a long time, but the run defense was fantastic this year. They held some of the best rushers in the league to under 100 yards. Now, I will say the Kansas City Chiefs run defense towards, the latter part of the season and in the postseason has not been as great, but I think that's for a few reasons. Number one, the Kansas City Chiefs are just trying to get to the playoffs at the end of the regular season, and at that point, you got guys that are dinged up. You're not as juiced up as you were at the very beginning of the year. You're just trying to make it to the finish line. You're trying to get that one seed and then tone things back so that you're ready for the playoffs. But then you look at the playoffs, and they've allowed some guys to run a little bit, but that's because, they faced a team in the Buffalo Bills in the AFC Championship that were a major threat to pass the ball. That is what the Kansas City Chiefs were mainly concerned about. Because we knew that Josh Allen could quite literally strong-arm the Bills to victory if the Chiefs were not on their toes in the secondary. Now, of course, you still have to worry about Josh Allen as a running threat and James Cook on the ground, but you can't have them beating you both ways. That's the point. The Chiefs needed to make the Bills one-dimensional, and they ended up in the second half tightening up that run defense. They did not let Josh Allen kill them on the ground. We saw how many times the Chiefs were able to stop the tush push. When the Chiefs are up to the task, when they are motivated to stop a running threat on offense, typically they do it. This matchup is actually very reminiscent of when Derrick Henry came into Arrowhead for that 2019 AFC Championship game, and the whole story leading up to that game was, can the Kansas City Chiefs stop Derrick Henry? They hadn't before. Derrick Henry had been somewhat of a kryptonite for the Kansas City Chiefs defense leading up to that game. But in that game, they held him to below 100 yards, and I don't think Derrick Henry has had a good game against the Kansas City Chiefs since. It was like that day, they figured it out. Spags dialed in and said, we're not going to let this guy beat us, and that's exactly what happened. Saquon Barkley, though, right now, at his peak, I'd consider this his peak of his career so far, might be a little bit better than Derrick Henry, might be a little bit more of a dynamic threat than Derrick Henry in this game, and also – the Eagles' passing offense, while it's been up and down this year, there's guys to worry about, such as A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, to where you can't just focus all of your resources on Saquon Barkley, or else you're going to get caught on the back end. But what does stopping Saquon Barkley look like? And first of all, how do we define stopping Saquon Barkley? Because I don't think the Kansas City Chiefs are going to stop Saquon Barkley as in, they hold him to 3 yards per carry and only 40 total yards in the game. I don't think that's going to happen. You have to hope to slow him down. So what does that look like? I think if you hold him to, like I said, 100 yards or less, you have a very good shot of winning this game. I think he could even run for 120 yards and you could still win this game. But that's a lot easier said than done because Saquon Barkley has been on an absolute heater lately. Now, granted, some of the defenses that the Eagles have faced in the postseason have not been very good. This Chiefs defense is a little bit of a different beast for the Eagles, and they have a mastermind at DC and Steve Spagnuolo. So I think Eagles fans are downplaying this matchup just a little bit. But I do think that when the Chiefs are up to the task, they have the personnel, they have the coaches, they have this scheme to slow down Saquon Barkley. So I talked about Chris Jones versus the Eagles interior offensive line earlier this week, and how that's a little bit of a mismatch because of the pressure rate those guys are allowing. Now, of course, run blocking is a different aspect of the game, but I think Chris Jones's ability to shed blocks is going to really help out in the run game. Having Tershawn Wharton there as well, who's had a very good season. Those two guys getting their hands on Saquon Barkley. You can also throw in Mike Pennell, maybe a little bit of Derek Nottie. Those guys simply getting their hands on Saquon Barkley before he gets to the second level of the defense is going to be key. Because you cannot let Saquon Barkley easily get to the second level of the defense matching up against these Chiefs linebackers, because I think these Chiefs linebackers, all three of them, and Bolton, Tranquil, and Chenal, are great downhill. But it's going to be hard to get them in a downhill situation if Saquon Barkley is getting to the second level of the defense untouched. Then you leave it to those guys to chase him down, run sideline to sideline. And I think Leo Chenal is maybe the only one with that sort of capability. So you have to get hands on Saquon Barkley early. The defensive ends have to come crashing down. George Karlaftis, Charles Omenihu, Mike Dana, and those guys are going to have to set the edge. Luckily, that's the strength of this Chiefs defensive line, because that's what Spags values in his defensive ends, is setting the edge. But then you also have guys in run support like Jaden Hicks and Shamari Connor, who are fantastic in the run game and defending the run. You have to put your best personnel out on the field in this game to stop Saquon Barkley. You have to be motivated, though. I think that's the biggest thing to me. I think run defense mostly is an effort thing. And I think when the Chiefs were putting in effort, like you go back to week 1 against the Baltimore Ravens, they stopped Derrick Henry. He had a good first drive, but then he didn't do anything for the rest of the game. The defense dialed in. Spags, usually the defense gets better as the game goes on. He'll make adjustments, even if Saquon Barkley is doing well early. But this defense, when they put their mind to it, when they're motivated, when they're fresh, which they are, I mean, they're going to be coming off a bye week. It's also Andy Reid and Steve Spagnuolo off a bye week, which is another thing that I think is worth noting going into this game. Those guys have been great off the bye week when it comes to game planning. But if the Chiefs are motivated, up to the task, willing to do the dirty work in the run game, they can slow down Saquon Barkley. And given the game, given the situation, the stage that they're playing on, given the threat that we know Saquon Barkley is, I think they're going to be up to it. I think they're going to be up to the task. I think you're going to see a master game plan from Steve Spagnuolo to slow down Saquon Barkley using his best defensive backs in run support. I mean, I've talked about the Chiefs safeties and how they don't have a true free safety, and that hurts when defending the pass, but boy, does it give you a lot of tools to work with when your entire safety room is basically all strong safeties, box safeties like Justin Reed, Brian Cook, Shamari Connor, Jaden Hicks. Those guys, they have the knack for making tackles in the run game. And so you're going to need them in this one. I like the linebackers playing downhill, but the key is to get the defensive line engaged in getting their hands on Saquon so that he does not get to the second level of the defense, as easily as he has for most of the postseason, because that's when he can really break the game open and things can get out of hand. But I believe if you hold him to 100 yards or less, you're going to win this game, and I believe the Chiefs have the capability to do that. We'll see what happens in this game, though, guys. This is going to be the matchup I'm looking at. This is the biggest question for me this week. But if the Chiefs do that successfully in stopping Saquon Barkley, I think they will win Super Bowl 59. But I want to hear from you guys down in the comments below. What are your thoughts on this matchup? Do you think the Chiefs are equipped to slow down Saquon Barkley in this game? I want to hear from you as always, but I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up there. So with all that being said, make sure you like, share, and subscribe so more Chiefs fans can find this. Make sure you check out my work on showmefootball.com, arrowheadaddict.com for more. You can also follow me on Twitter at showmefb. That's all I got for you guys in this one. I'll see you in the next one. And as always, go Chiefs.